science fiction and fantasy enthusiasts, and welcome to our podcast. With Ryan Sean O'Reilly, David Wilkinson, and Richard Mell. You're listening to No Deodorant in Outer Space. Now, let's get started.
We'll set things right. We will. You and me and Yorick and Serafina Pekala and Mr. Scoresby and my father. We'll set it right, Pan. Just let them try to stop us. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of No Deodorant Outer Space. My name is Ryan Sean O'Reilly, and I will be hosting you on this journey as we exit the cosmos into some other stranger dimension. Joining me is my good friend and companion, David Wilkinson.
What up?
Dave, welcome to the fold. Also, to complete the daring duo, Richard Mell.
Duo.
All right, come on, guys. Let's have some forced fun tonight. Come on, I got some pizza over here. You can have that, and I got some soda pops. Hey, let's have some forced fun tonight, guys.
What are you smoking? Rick? What are you smoking tonight? What's going on?
Some spirits in the bathroom.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
Nice.
Yes.
This episode is our second half of our two-part mini-series on the Golden Compass, or His Dark Materials, written by Philip Pullman. And on this episode, we're going to be covering the movie adaptation, which was directed by Christopher Weitz and starred Nicole Kidman, among others. In this episode, we'll be talking about the movie, as I just said. Wilk, I think we were talking offline some time ago before we were getting ready for this episode. You were going to give us another update on the David Wilkinson Car Chronicles that has been one of the subplots of the No Deodorant in Outer Space podcast.
It has. It's been the tie that binds us together, really. No, I was in Flint, Michigan. And not too far from where Rick used to, I think you used to have a business up there at some point. I have an office there on Bristol Road.
Yes.
And I had to go to court, so I go to court. I'm leaving court, and the highway is blocked off for some kind of bizarre reasons. So I take the back roads back to my office. And I go around a corner from this restaurant called the White Horse, which is a great place to go if you're in Flint. And I go around a corner, and I hit a pothole at about 34 miles per hour. I hit it so hard, it knocked the radio out of the console in my car. And then my tire...
Concussion?
Well, let's get to that. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, it knocked the radio out of the console of my car. My tire just exploded.
Exploded?
And it just like popped. It popped. I mean, it just like went flat. And I just felt jarred. Like I had a headache. My head, my teeth just kind of.
Headache is a complete symptom of concussion. And I'm wondering if the county of Genesee, the fine county of Genesee, is willing to compensate Wilk for some concussion recovery, full recovery, because he is a father of three girls.
Three girls, yeah, there's three of them.
He has a full-time job, and he's fighting for his house, and he's fighting for everything he's got.
He's fighting the good fight. It
gets better. So that's easy enough. So I pull off the side of the road. I'm at a family video in a Subway restaurant. And so I call AAA, and they're like, yeah, we'll be there in half an hour. So I'm like, all right, cool. And so I go into the Subway because I'm hungry. Why not? And I'm there, and I'm in the Subway. I got my trench coat on, everything. And everything in there is completely bulletproof. Like, it's like head to toe bulletproof glass on the counter. I mean, like, there's like hardcore security in there, and it's pretty lively. So I get my bulletproof sub, and I go back to my car, and then I'm sitting in my car with just like tire completely flat, like probably like a little bit of blood on my head at this point, eating my sub.
Did you order a Subway sandwich with blood on your face?
Probably, yeah. Well, it wasn't quite as bad as the burrito incident, but yeah, I did order. I bit my tongue a little bit. It wasn't like blood on my face. My face wasn't. I did have a small cut on my face, but I don't know where that came from. It was by my nose. It's gone now. Maybe it's dry skin.
Those things just tend to go away on their own.
Dog whistling out there.
So I go back, and I got a foot-long sub. I ate like 2 bites of the first piece, and then the tow truck driver comes. He's like calling me. I'm like, got a sub in my mouth. I'm like, well, I'm at the family video in the Subway. He's like, are you eating the sub? I'm like, I am.
I like that the tow truck driver knew you were eating a sub.
Well, he called. I was like, I have food in my mouth. So So I'm like, yeah, I remember him right now. He's like, all right.
Yes, this is real time.
Like, okay.
I got no time.
No, it gets worse. And then I have like 9 inches of sub, and he's like, I'll be there in 2 minutes. I'm like, can I eat 9 inches of sub in 2 minutes, or do I take the sub with me?
Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
No, so I finished.
You got mayonnaise everywhere here. Oh my god!
I finished the first sub. It was mustard. I finished the first sub. It's always mustard with me.
It is always mustard with you. You and mustard are always fighting.
Well, if you have ketchup in your fucking sandwich, you're a communist.
What? I'm not. Ryan likes ketchup.
A red communist.
No. So he finally comes. So I have 6 inches of sub. I just put it in my pocket, in my jacket pocket. I get in the car with him.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. So I'm gonna go to Bell Tire or wherever I go. All right, fine. So we're talking. I'm just making conversation with him, and I'm like, yeah, glad you picked me up, man. This area's real rough. It's got a bulletproof subway. He's like, yeah, it's kind of a rough area. I'm like, yeah, like it's just so sad what happened here. He's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, I'm like, so how's your day been going? He's like, pretty good. I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna close in the house pretty soon. I'm like, oh, cool. Where you gonna buy a house? He's like, we're in this neighborhood that's so bad. I'm like, okay. Like, this is awkward.
And then you pulled out your sandwich and you said, good Subway though.
I'm like, yeah, you have a sub, good sir. So I've insulted this man, like, already. Like, I'm just some jackass with, like, probably mustard and lettuce on my jacket at this point. I don't know. That to me was, like, the worst part. So we go and put the car off, and I have someone in my office come and pick me up, and basically I had to they replaced two tires in my car, and it cost, like, $400.
2 tires? Wow. That's a bad pothole.
But the important part is I insulted a tow truck driver. Yeah, it's just like, there was no conversation after that. Like, I said it's a bad neighborhood. He said I'm buying a house. I said we're in this neighborhood, and that was it.
Okay, and we're back.
Ready to go.
So,
rock and roll.
That was a great story, Wilk. Oh my god, I can't believe what happens to you in your car. What adventure will you get into next? All right.
Who knows?
And on that note, why don't we go around the horn and let's all give our opening comments for the movie episode. Wilk, let's start with you.
A chilling encounter into the depths of the human soul with Robert De Niro and many other stars and special effects and total crap.
Hey, you talking to me?
Oh, Rick, let's go to you. Your opening comment on this episode about the movie.
Well, I like the fuzzy bears, and all the actors are very professional about it, and it looks like everyone had a good time, given the backstage romances going on.
They don't call him the Rambler for nothing. My comment will be a glamorous production that ultimately washes over the heart of the source material. All right. On that note, let's move on to our next segment. Let's talk about this director, Christopher Weitz, or Chris Weitz. Wilk, I'm going to turn things over to you. Give us a little bio and background on the director.
You know what? I felt like this director should be British, but he's not. He's from
New York,
America, which is kind of disappointing that we produced him. He's from New York City, one of the greatest cities in America, which is even worse. I mean, I wish this guy was like from Kosovo or something like that, or I don't know. I mean, or he grew up in a concentration camp in Cambodia, but he's on the wrong side of the Cambodian culture. He's just his dad was a fashion designer and a novelist named John. Boring name. He went to Cambridge, which
Dear John.
Yeah, Dear John. And I mean, he kind of grew up with a little bit of money, a little bit of fame, and I mean, people must just like. I think maybe he's a competent writer, or maybe he's the guy that brings the good drugs to the party, but like he keeps getting work, but his name is attached to some of the worst movies. I mean, they're not like fun bad, or like they're just like, they're like bad movies for dumb people. I mean, they'll make money. It's like, but he's behind.
Give us some examples. It's like, give us some examples. Because he's done a bunch, right? He's done a bunch.
Come on, these are scathing words. You need to come up with some scathing anecdotes.
Well, I mean, how do we try and guess which one of these things he's not been a part of? Okay.
Okay.
A fantasy island remake.
He did do that.
Okay. There you go. You're onto something here. Will.
Okay. An American Pie producer, but that was a recreation.
That wasn't necessarily the best of teenage.
That was
movies.
A fun movie. I liked the American Pie movie. No, you guys didn't like it?
I don't know about it. It's just real. Like, it just kind of makes fun of. It's outright. It's explicit. It's like Hellraiser for teenage comedies. All right, because they just go into way too much detail to get laughs out of people.
Who is Pinhead in American Pie?
It was definitely shit prick. No, or Stifler.
Stifler was the pinhead of American Pie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen American Pie in a while, but I remember enjoying it when I saw it.
He wrote the screenplay for the second Nutty Professor movie starring Eddie Murphy. That to me is the worst one. It's like, you didn't write the first screenplay, and Eddie Murphy said, you know what, Nutty Professor was good, but I want to get a different screenwriter for this. I need a different screenwriter for the second one. I need someone who can see my vision. I mean, how do you get that job? It's like, hey, I loved your work on Ants, his previous movie.
God, that sucked.
And you did a lot of work on
Ants. One animated movie that really sucked.
Ants was a competitor with Bug's Life, right? Wasn't that?
Ants was a rival with Toy Story.
It was a bad movie.
It was horrible.
And then he did Fantasy Island after that, then Nutty Professor 2. Then he and his brother wrote About a Boy, which got a lot of critical acclaim, which he got a lot of mileage out of because it became a TV show. Then he wrote the Golden Compass screenplay for some reason. He wrote some...
Yeah, unsolicited, I saw. He actually wrote a 40-page treatment, and he kind of lobbied to do this movie.
That's
a treatment?
Yeah, I mean, he loved the books, apparently.
Yeah,
and but I mean, it's just like, his work is crap, and he's directed movies too. Like he was an uncredited director in American Pie. That's where he kind of learned the trade. He was friends with he was there to observe, which makes sense. Fine. They did a kind of a throwaway movie called Down to Earth, which starred Chris Rock, which is a remake of that Warren Beatty movie Heaven Can Wait, and it is shockingly bad. I saw this on an airplane, and it's exactly the kind of movie you see on an airplane because you wouldn't watch it.
Movie.
It's an airplane movie. I mean, it's Chris Rock literally is giving his stand-up spiel that you've seen for the last 10 years. Like, it's like, oh, he's just doing monologues from his stand-up comedy bits throughout the movie. It's like when people make a joke about a rap video where the white people get funky and start dancing. That's what this movie is. It is just like one. Yeah. It's just not very creative.
Out of the blue, forced fun.
It's not a good movie. It's just a bad movie. You're watching, you're like, oh, who made this? Why does this exist? Well, this guy's behind.
You mentioned can I ask you a question? You mentioned airplane movies.
Yes, sir.
What was your most memorable airplane movie?
Oh, it was with Sigourney Weaver and
she was in those? I don't remember that.
No. Who is the Sigourney? She was a con woman with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and Gene Hackman was in it too. Like Heartbreakers or something like that. And I actually really enjoyed that movie. I was really nervous in the flight, I think, but yeah, it was hard.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the actual airplane movies with Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, the first one then. Yeah. Oh, I think meant movies I've seen.
No, I think Rick, you are right. Rick, that's what Rick meant.
Oh, Air Force One and Executive Decision are my two favorite airplane movies.
Air Force One, great.
Get off my plane.
With Harrison Ford, Han Solo as president.
Yeah, Han Solo as president. It's not a bad thing. Yeah. Okay, so
no.
Yeah, so back to this guy's crap fest of directing movies, though. And then, I mean, the piece de la resistance, as they say, he did a fucking Twilight movie.
Yeah, he did the second one, I think, New Moon, right?
Twilight movie.
He did New Moon, yes.
Yeah. Which I think wasn't that a big success?
I've never heard of it.
They were all big successes, but they were all just shit. That's what I'm saying. Ryan, I think anyone could make a Twilight movie that would get $100 million in, because I don't know. I mean, like, he's never really done anything on his own that I find that to be unique or creative until I saw that he is the co-writer of the new Star Wars script for the Rogue One movie.
Yeah.
Which is just terrifying.
When's that coming out? That's coming out this month in December?
December, yeah. Here are the movies he's done before. He wrote the screenplay for The Golden Compass, which was garbage. He wrote Nutty Professor 2, which was garbage. And he wrote Ants, which was garbage. And now he's writing Rogue One, which I hope is not garbage.
Is he married? Does he have a wife, or does he have a partner?
He's a wife.
He was married in 2006 to a woman named BMW, I believe.
Mercedes, I think it is. Mercedes Martinez? Is that her name?
I think it's Audie Martinez.
This guy just seems so shallow.
Portia Martinez, I'm sorry.
Portia. Luxurious.
So,
very luxurious.
I mean,
fast and hot.
He grew up with money in New York City. He's never worked a day in his life. He fell ass first into entertainment, and he's been attached with like these sure thing movies that anybody with a pulse could be attached to. And somehow he's writing the goddamn Star Wars movie. And I kind of want to his ass at this point, you know? I mean,
wow, that's saying
I want to impress Jodie Foster. Is that wrong?
There you go.
Yeah,
that's really violent.
I want to him like I want to like go drive a taxi in New York City, get a mohawk.
You just want to his ass, Will,
to make Jodie Foster like me.
That's freaking dark. Well,
it's freaking.
I think this is a bit of a passion project from him. What I read is, like I said, he wrote the treatment for it and lobbied to do it. And then once he got selected, he got nervous that
he lobbied to do it. What do you think his lobbying activities were as he was trying to vie for the position?
Rick, why don't you tell us what you think they were?
Well, I think he's bisexual. All right. It gives him great flexibility and social skills to maneuver in these crazy Hollywood Tinseltown environments, especially these parties. And probably maneuvers a few times both ways to get everything he needs. And, he's just a rich kid who's had some shallow success with his art, quote unquote. And
what are you basing this on, all this stuff that you're saying?
From what I've heard you guys talk about.
He's like, my dad's John. He's a novelist.
Were you guys lying?
Oh, so
were you guys lying?
My understanding is what I read is that he lobbied to do this. He got the job. This was through New Line Cinema, right? And he got nervous doing it. I think he actually went and met with Peter Jackson, was working at King Kong at the time that told him how to deal with New Line Cinema and how to do a big movie like this. And he got nervous that the author and the fans of these books were not going to like what his result was. So he actually left the project and they got another director to work on it. Then that director ended up leaving because of creative differences with the studio. And Philip Pullman, the author, had to personally write a letter to Chris Weitz to come back and work on the movie. And that's how he ended up directing this movie.
There you go.
And he said he was allowed to shoot this movie the way he wanted, which did have religious elements and did have a darker ending. And then in the end, they fired his editor and the studio took out a lot of the religious elements and ended up changing or cutting down the ending, and he was not happy with the final project of this film.
He was mad at the studio too. He felt like the movie, he didn't make a Smithy production, but he basically said, if I had $15 million more, I could have made the movie I wanted here. I like parts of it, but he didn't really stand behind the product, which I guess, I shouldn't hate him as much as I hate him, I guess. Is he British though?
No.
Because Rachel Weisz is his sister, and she is British.
I saw he was born in New York, I think. I think he grew up in New York.
He was born in New York.
What is this British obsession you have?
Well, Rachel Weisz is his sister, and she was born in London. So how's that work?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
London town.
John Weitz, and I'll look him up though. Yeah, so Rachel Weisz has had a lot of success in Hollywood. So that
but he looks back at this as a negative experience because of what the studio did with the Ultimate Project. And the studio, let's get into this, Wilk, and you can elaborate, is the studio was afraid of blowback from religious organizations. And
he's a Jew. He's a Jew. His dad was born in Berlin in 1923. His dad was a Jew, a German Jew.
And
he fled to New York. So and then his sister's born in London.
They fled Germany, right?
They're Jews.
Yeah,
of course they fled.
Yeah, Pope John was a Nazi.
He's a Jew.
He was a Nazi Jew.
He's a German Jew.
German Nazi Jew.
German Jew.
Who is Rick?
Hitler's father was for certain.
Why are you talking about that?
And I'm speculating that the Pope during World War II was a German Nazi Jew.
Okay, I got sidetracked to the Jewish stuff, but okay, he's not British.
So, but why don't we get into the religious stuff? Is he was worried, or no, the studio was worried that there was going to be problems with this, with people protesting it. And I think, Wilk, you were looking into this. Why don't you elaborate?
Well,
please.
What happened? The studio, they said they were worried. It was a fake controversy, and the controversy was, I think, generated to actually get attention to the movie, which really wasn't that strong and had a lot of marketing behind it. But the Catholic League came out and said this movie is anti-Catholic, and the Catholic League pretty much exists just to say things are anti-Catholic. They're not actually tied to the church. They're just there to take offense at anything that remotely insults Catholics. Uh-huh. Like, to me, the existence of the Catholic Church is the most insulting thing to Catholics, but they can't really call that out. So they're usually calling out some raucous Adam Sandler comedy or something like that, or this movie which has some vague, veiled criticism of organized religion. Big fucking deal. And
cherry picking child molesters.
Yeah, so they go on the Bill O'Reilly show or some shit like that and say this movie's controversial. We don't like it.
Bill O'Reilly.
And
didn't Focus on the Family also come out against this?
I don't know if they did. I know the Catholic League did. I didn't see them about James Dobson, Focus on the Family. Why not? That guy ruined my childhood. Why wouldn't he ruin this movie too?
Who's James Dobson?
He's the head of Focus on the Family,
which is not a Catholic organization.
Oh. No, they're evangelical, and I grew up in an evangelical sect of the Lutheran Church that was founded by the Word of God cult and had a very traumatic effect on me at an early age, and I didn't like it.
Wow.
But you have Jewish ancestry?
Let's explore that.
Yeah, until I got baptized when I was like 7 years old with my mom. And
what's your Jewish heritage?
I'm Jewish.
I mean, like from what side of the family?
My mom's Jewish, my dad's not.
Okay.
And my mom converted and joined a cult when I was 7.
Cults will do that.
Yeah.
So there was now it's interesting because some religious leaders have actually said this is a good book and it has spiritual aspects to it. And
wait, we're not talking about the book.
And should be included in religious teachings. But other religious leaders have come out against it. And the author himself, Philip Pullman, I saw that he considered himself agnostic. But he's been associated with being like a militant atheist, but I don't know that he actually is a militant atheist. I actually was listening to a podcast where he was talking about the teachings of Jesus, and I don't think he's a big Jesus supporter. He's wrote some books about Jesus, but he felt that Jesus was an excellent storyteller, and he appreciated the parables that Jesus came up with from the perspective of a storyteller, and how those stories are just, very well written and have lasted the test of time. But he seems to have a lot of criticism of religious institutions, more so than just maybe faith. Although I'm sure he's not
the Catholics.
He was raised in Church of England. He doesn't subscribe to that faith, and he does like to question the institutional aspects of religion. But I think the director was frustrated because he felt that these organizations were going to protest this movie no matter what they did, and so the studio shouldn't have acquiesced and cut out some of the more religious aspects of the movie. Ultimately, the movie did well worldwide. Did it make like $250 million worldwide? But it didn't do so good domestically in the U.S.
Not as well as expected. I mean, I don't think it lost money.
Right.
They didn't make enough money to generate a sequel.
Yes.
And it was not super well received by the critics.
Yeah. But it didn't, like you said, it didn't lose money. This was actually a financial success.
But there was a slight problem, though, not to get too nerdy on you here, but like they sold the international rights to a finance company to help pay for the marketing. They were banking on making the most money on U.S. shores, so the foreign box office didn't go back to the studio. So they sold those rights at a break-even rate, and they put all the stock in the movie into making money in America, where it didn't make any money, and that's why they didn't make any sequels. One of the many reasons.
Yeah,
it could have been huge in China,
but they lost the foreign rights though.
I think I felt it might have won an award for the visual effects, and I did think it's very well done visually, the effects and everything. I thought
I agree.
It was a great production.
Well, and the cast was amazing. I mean, it really they had a who's who of everybody. I mean,
it had lots of money.
Who is the who played Lord Asriel? What's his name?
James Bond.
What? Yeah, but what's the actor's name?
Yeah,
Paul Krug.
No.
Schlingenbacher?
No.
Daniel
Craig. Daniel Craig. Now, he was also in Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Nicole Kidman, which we covered previously this season, right?
Yeah.
And they've been paired together a couple times, right?
Well, one might begin to think, are they an item?
Yeah. I don't know why they keep getting put together, but also
remember, he's like,
Gandalf.
Nicole, I want a Trump tramp stamp on your back, and I'll pay good money to put it on there.
Sure thing, honey.
What's his name? Who plays Gandalf? What's his name, Rick? You were just talking about him in the last episode. The actor.
Neil Pearlman.
I don't know. Not Christopher Lee, the other guy.
The other old guy.
Christopher Lee is in this movie, and also what's his name? It's escaping me right now.
Hey, Ryan or Rick, if you guys were on a date with Nicole Kidman and you were both single and you knew everything about her that you would, and you could ask her anything, what would you ask her about Tom Cruise?
I wouldn't even bring it up.
Are you really?
If I was single, I'd just want to keep her comfortable, and I wouldn't want to talk about her previous
Ian McKellen.
bullshit.
Ian McKellen.
Okay, let me rephrase. Let's say you're married, and you're with Nicole Kidman, which you are, and you're not trying to get in her pants. What would you ask her about Tom Cruise?
I'd probably get a little head crazy with it. Just thinking about the details, which I should not. I know Ryan wouldn't.
I would get graphic. I'd be like, was he into it? I mean, did you guys have sex?
Right.
If you had sex, what did you do? What kind of things? How often?
Was there anal penetration? Stuff like that. Is he okay? Does he, check out negative,
As I get older, I like Tom Cruise movies more and more, much to the chagrin of everybody around me. No one likes Tom Cruise as much as me, anywhere in my life. In fact, it's kind of obnoxious how much I like. Like, I get excited now. Ooh, a Tom Cruise movie. And Laura he's
a little tough guy. Yeah. There's a lot of little tough guys out there, so they all love that.
I appreciate the consistency as I get older. Tom Cruise has been around since I was 7 years old, and he really hasn't aged or changed, and he plays the same role. So this is kind of comforting, Like, Schwarzenegger makes me sad now when I see him. He's like 70 years old, and he kind of got divorced and blew it. I don't know.
He could probably put out another rockin' movie before he kicks the bucket, though.
Predator. He needs to do a Predator movie.
Yeah.
My God, just do a fucking Predator movie again.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to you, Ryan. We were talking about the poor.
What? No, we're talking about the cast. Ian McKellen played the voice of the armored bear Eeyore. Christopher Lee has a role. Sam Elliott has another role. I think Kathy Bates has another role.
That's the Gandalf figure.
Gandalf figure.
Sam Elliott's the best.
No, Sam Elliott's like, it's what's for dinner. Beef.
Is it? That's Sam Elliott?
I don't think so.
Beef.
Beef.
It's what's for dinner.
And if you don't want it for dinner, I like to cram it in my asshole and have someone else eat it for dinner, if you know what I'm saying.
That is your best country accent, yes.
I saw that Chris Weitz was a fan of the X-Files. I heard him doing a podcast talking about the X-Files, which we talked about last episode. Anything else you want to talk about the director, Will?
I mean, should I hate him? I don't know. I mean, I feel like, will he fuck up that Rogue One Star Wars movie? And again, it's a prequel. I like...
We're going to find out this month.
I don't know. What do you guys... I just... The movies he's been attached to...
I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, people loved About a Boy, and that wasn't a bad movie. Hey, Laura, did you see About a Boy? Did you like it? Laura thought it was all right. So...
Okay.
Probably too cute.
What's that?
Not enough, too cute for her. Like, just sort of under her radar as far as adult entertainment
She
goes.
seemed mildly annoyed that I was asking her that at all. So...
Oh, God.
She's doing...
That might be unrelated.
She's reading...
Why don't we move...
I can't believe she married me, to be honest. I mean,
You're not the only one.
I'm like, what were you thinking? I don't know.
All right.
She's reading police reports, I think, on a computer right now.
All right. So let's move on to the movie itself.
Are you married, Ryan?
The movie, which came out in 2007. Rick, you're going to give us a little background on the movie in the sense that tell us what is the main differences between this book and the movie. There's a lot of similarities with this one. It doesn't go completely off the rails, but I mean, what are some differences to contrast this book to the movie, or the movie to the book?
Like the movie came off as a lot more polished. There was, I just thought it was more for adults than children, but it was marketed to children, and it got extremely sophisticated. And I just don't see this as being, I see this as a movie that parents grab onto with their ideologies and then make their kids watch it and talk about it. Like when it's over with, they get ideas going, they insert ideas into their child's head, and that's the way I see it.
So what are the differences between the movie and the book?
That's about it.
Did you actually say any differences?
It was pretty well produced, polished acting. There was definitely an electricity.
No, but like plot-wise.
Plot-wise, like I'm saying, it just had more energy to it.
I felt like that the bears, especially Yorick, was less murderous and a lot more tamed down. And the evil bear, the Bear King, what was his name in the book? His name was Iofur Rankinson, and I think it was Ragnar or something in the movie. In the book, he's considered bad because he killed his own father. But in the movie, I don't think they get into that at all. They kind of make the bears less dangerous.
No, not at all.
They kind of just
yeah, you're right, Brian.
I think the fight scene's a little bit brutal, but I remember the book got pretty violent.
That was brutal.
The book got pretty violent.
Well, and
not that violent though.
And guys, remember in the first minute of the movie, they're explaining things like the dust and the overall concepts and a little brief narration, and that stuff is kind of developed over the course of the novel, so that kind of frames the whole thing differently there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they move the experiment camp, the camp where they have the kids all captured that the gobblers have? I felt like they moved that to the end, and it came in a quicker place in the book. I felt like they shifted around the plot a little bit with that.
The book, I felt like when I watched the movie, they had a lot of the elements in there, but I didn't feel it was anywhere near... It's not congruent or cohesive, but it didn't follow the same linear path as the book. They definitely changed the timing of a few things in there.
Yeah.
And again, the ending was bizarre, so... compared to the book.
Yeah, and I guess I have a note here that I didn't feel like the intercision aspect of the book where they're severing these animal spirits from the people, which is a very traumatic thing. I felt like that wasn't really explained or set up as well as it was in the book about how traumatic it was. I don't feel like they explained the demon thing as well in the movie and how important the demons were to the people. I thought it was kind of glossed over. It
was very visually significant, and the movie suffered from something the book did, where it felt like there was going to be more of them, but there's not going to be with the movie.
Yeah.
And, it was almost overkill. I don't know. It was almost too much. It was a December release, which was a mistake, and it had a great cast of people that weren't that great. Because honestly, Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman don't get you out to see a movie. They just don't.
Not really.
Yeah,
I want to read it. I want to read a quote here, okay? And then I'm going to let you guess who this is from, which you should know because you know this person. And Rick, you should know this too. But I'm going to let Will take the first guess. This is a quote about the movie: "A darker, deeper fantasy epic than the Rings trilogy, the Chronicles of Narnia, or the Potter films. It springs from the same British world of quasi-philosophical magic, but creates more complex villains and poses more intriguing questions. As a visual experience, it is superb. As an escapist fantasy, it is challenging." Who said that, do you think, Will? Famous critic.
Famous critic?
Yeah.
Roger Ebert.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So Roger Ebert liked this a lot more than Lord of the Rings movies, the Narnia Chronicle movies, or the Potter films.
You know what? Roger Ebert would love the philosophy of this guy. I love Roger Ebert, and I can totally picture him saying that, though, too. I mean, because, frankly, Roger Ebert was very into...
I got this off Roger Ebert's website.
No, I actually read the review, too. That's why it resonated. I've read every Roger Ebert review probably since 1997. Would read it every week. I love the guy. And his whole philosophy was really very humanitarian, very liberal, very, atheist, agnostic, very humanist. And I could see him not liking the metaphors in Narnia and Tolkien because the backbone was that of a religious or spiritual nature, and that's not what Ebert was about. He was about humanity being there for humanity and not some fictional sky god. Whether not that I'm saying it's fictional, but he didn't like the spiritual stuff as much as he liked the idea of people doing good while they're here. And I think that the lack of spiritual elements in this book would really appeal to him. But
you know what? I feel like he got it wrong, and I feel like because he's saying this is deeper and darker, I don't think this film really carries that. I think the book carries it more than the film. I feel like he's almost drawing more from the source material than what we're given in the film. You know what I'm saying?
It's like reading between the lines, interpolating.
Well, I guess I'm this criticism that this is a better work because it's deeper and darker. I don't really see it in the film. I see that more in the book than I do the film.
The book was a little bit darker, I think, but the movie kind of made some things darker as well too. Like
really,
it removed the ambiguity of some of the characters. I thought it made the gobblers, I think, a lot more dark. It made the Magisterium a little bit more evil, but not much more.
The Magisterium is supposed to be good, though, right? Because they're science. Are you talking about the religious order, which is not the Magisterium, right?
A little bit foreboding, I guess, would be the word I'm saying. I don't know.
Or is the Magisterium is the colleges, right? Or is the Magisterium the religious order? Maybe I got that wrong.
I really can't think of the difference, to be perfectly fucking honest.
Well, she was raised essentially in amongst scholars. At first, I thought they were like religious order, but they're not. They're scholars. Then her mom is with the religious order. I think that it actually is the Magisterium.
I'm actually confused now, so I don't know.
You sort of have a science versus religion dynamic going on in here. And her father, Lord Asriel, is supported by the scholarly organization to go and research the dust. The religious organization is supporting the gobblers who are capturing the children. And,
why are the gobblers capturing the children?
So that they can try to sever their animal spirits and
prematurely before they have them under control.
Yeah, because and then separate them out from the dust, I guess, to not have original sin. I think that's their point, is to have people born without original sin. Is that their point of doing that? Certainly her father wants to pursue that point. But what is
certainly the yang to Catholicism's yin?
But the mother, what do you think about the relationship of the mother and father in this? I know they're like old lovers and they're estranged. But it is a very strange relationship because
it's very awkward.
In the end, they're sort of getting romantic again, but then they break apart. It's like they had a one night stand, right?
Well, that's exciting.
But in the story, they didn't just have a one night stand; they had like a relationship, right? And then Lyra was born, but it was an extramarital affair, right? I don't know. The relationship of the mother and father to Lyra and to each other felt a little stilted. And as much as Phil Pullman wanted to criticize Tolkien for not having aspects of love in his book, I didn't feel like there was a lot of aspects of love in this book.
There's aspects of friendship, which is a form of love in all of Tolkien's work.
Yeah, but okay, right, I agree. What about this book?
I just disagree with that kind of shit. I just can't have that.
You can't have... Wait, you disagree with what?
Just that, what you said.
You disagree with Pullman's criticism of Tolkien?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Wilk?
It's just silly. I mean, it's a myopic thought to say that Tolkien's inferior because he doesn't have a love story. I mean, like, that just seems like a bitter musing of somebody who...
There's an eternal love for, like, the elf goddess, you know? I mean, from everyone. Everyone wants to, like, just get her in the sack, you know? I mean, come on, man.
But even if there's not, I mean, like, one of my pet peeves, as Ryan knows, is a need to find uniformity in all things, to find everything to be analogous, to find if it works this way, it's got to work that way, to have the same rules and structures. You can have a great book that has a completely different structure than the other book, and it's got to stand on its own. To say that Tolkien's inferior because he doesn't have this kind of plot thread running through it is just, again, it's myopic. It's a specious line of thinking, and it to me, it makes me think this guy's got an inferior brain or an inferiority complex, or both.
Yes.
Well, since that was his criticism of Tolkien, do you feel like in this book that there are strong elements of love and relationships?
No, I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, you know,
why bother saying that kind of shit?
It's so easy to attack the giants. I wish Dole was here, because I had famously argued with Dole, not so much Dole, but like Pat would be the first one, about like why the Rolling Stones were a good band, and they hated the Rolling Stones. I mean, not so much Dole, but Pat. Like, I'm like, they're a great band. Like, oh, they've sold out. They're mainstream. Like, they're popular. Just because somebody likes something doesn't mean they're terrible. You just get sick of hearing them over and over again. But like, Tolkien's very easy to attack because he's just out there. He's big. He's prominent.
I don't know how Pat could say that. I mean, the Rolling Stones were always mainstream. Jesus.
Have you met
crazy?
Yeah, I mean, like,
they were up there acting like they were black to get a hit because that was the thing, you know? I mean, come on, man.
Sympathy for the devil. I love the Rolling Stones. I mean, whatever. I'm cheesy.
Yeah. Right, me too.
I like Pearl Jam. I like indie stuff too. But like, you know what? I would go to a Rolling Stones concert. I've actually been to a Rolling Stones concert, Pearl Jam concert last year. They were great.
Hey, Will.
Well, let me ask you this: What do you guys think that is the strongest relationships in this book? Like Lyra is the main character. What's her?
Like Pearl Jam?
Who does she have a strong relationship with?
Me?
Ryan, do you like Pearl Jam?
Yeah, I like Pearl Jam.
You do.
Yeah.
You guys, have you guys ever tried to evangelicize, or whatever that word is, anyone who is not a fan of Pearl Jam?
I've given up. People in my office make fun of me because I like Pearl Jam so much. And like, I hate that band. I always get annoyed when someone tells me they hate a band that I like, because I don't do that to other people.
So my question is, Lyra is the main character, right? Who does she have a strong relationship with? Who is she close with in this book? She has the one friend, I think it's Roger, right? Who is kidnapped by the gobblers, and she is going on a quest to save him. But I feel like I don't feel like a strong relationship between her and her friend. Yeah, it's there.
It's a device.
But it's not.
Yeah. It's a device. I mean, the guy knows where he wants.
She's vain.
Yeah.
She loves herself and like her animal friends, and she'd rather be into bestiality than into heterosexual relations.
Bestiality. Well, I think the animal is, he does a good job with the animals, with the demons, and the separation of the soul and actually talking to the soul. It's almost like you're talking to your conscious. And I like that aspect of it, you know, but.
Yeah, I mean, the movie itself, I mean, let's wrap it up a little bit, because it's hard to. It's not a movie for the ages. You know, it's not one of those things where it's going to be a cult classic. People are going to come back. It's not so bad that it's worth watching just to see how bad it is. It's not so good that you're going to want to put it in your library. But it's not, it's just like, it speaks to this guy's catalog of creating things that like nobody needs, but people will watch once. And I mean, do you think American Pie 2 is anyone's favorite movie? Do you think The Club?
Did he have anything to do with that though?
He wrote and directed it. He produced it. He produced
two? The sequel?
Yeah.
Sequel? Now this movie, he's not happy with the studio's edit. So he apparently had a different intention of how the final product was supposed to be.
You know what?
So
he does say that, but that's very easy to say. But ultimately, the movie didn't do what he wanted to do, and the buck stops somewhere. I mean, it's easy to blame the studio, fine, but directors get it done. Yeah. A good director gets it done.
He's a good director.
I got a question for Rick. Rick, I felt this was a good movie, and the production was great. Almost like how I felt about John Carter of Mars. Would you compare this to that?
Yeah, and I thought John Carter of Mars was a piece of shit that was overproduced for nothing. It was a waste of my time. I fell asleep during some of the most intense moments of John Carter, and
but you also seem to indicate like you thought it was well done.
It was well done, but I mean, Jesus, you can only have enough eye candy for so long. I mean, if that's all it is, it doesn't draw you emotionally. It doesn't kind of ground you in humanity. It doesn't do any of that. It's more like it's just off-putting to me.
It's lacking something.
It's
lacking something.
Soul.
Yeah. Is that what you feel, Wilk?
Yeah, more or less, I'd say.
All All right. Anyone else have any final comments about this movie?
I mean, I'd go watch Suicide Kings instead if you had a choice. Suicide Kings is a movie made in the late 90s starring Christopher Walken about a group of prep school boys get involved in kidnapping and murder. It's a standalone movie. It's got no fancy elements, but it's got a great cast. It's got a great ending. Dennis Leary's in there too. It's worth watching. This movie, not so much.
Okay. Well, let's go into our star ratings, and then I guess you kind of already said a final comment, but let's go to Rick. Rick, your star rating for this movie and any final comments.
I was completely turned off by it, literally, and I give it 1 star.
Okay. Rick, or Wilk, sorry. Wilk, your star rating and any last comments besides what you said.
I'm going to give it a solid 2 stars. I wouldn't watch this movie or recommend people to watch it, but it's got a good production value, and that's about it.
I'm struggling a little bit here.
5 stars!
No, not 5 stars. I'm going to give this 3 stars. 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I think it's well done. It's a well done movie. It lacks something, like we said, and some of that I think is due to the source material. But the effort was made here. I don't know if it's the studio that kind of took the soul out of this, and that's what's missing. But I'm gonna just stick with 3 stars. All right. I think we lost Rick Wilk.
That's not good. All right.
Let me just do the final comments here. Maybe Rick will come back. Here, I'll try to recall him. I will invite... hopefully his Audacity is still recording. I bet he was running off battery power and he didn't have his computer plugged in. I bet that's what happened. So I will invite people to join us next month when we're going to cover a new book. Actually, it's an old book called The Devil Rides Out.
Yes.
Which is also known as Black Magic Number 1, which came out in 1934, written by Dennis Wheatley. There was also a film called The Devil Rides Out, which came out in 1968, directed by Terrence Fisher, and starred Christopher Lee, who's been mentioned on this podcast before. And that was a Hammer Films production. And I think we're going to have John Doyle, otherwise known as Dole, our resident musician, and our engineer consultant will be joining us on that episode. So invite everyone next month to check that out. In the meantime, please visit our website, www.nodeodorant.com. We have show notes on the website. The guys write show notes. Please go there and check it out. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher Radio or TuneIn or iHeartMedia. We also have a YouTube channel. Just anywhere you can find podcast outlets, you can pretty much find our podcast. Please write reviews, rate our podcasts. We love that. Please tell us what you think of us. Also, we have a Twitter account. You can follow us there. We have a Facebook fan page. You can like that. Just go ahead and give us all the kudos you care to give us. And on that note, I guess we'll say goodnight. Just the 2 of us, because I think we lost Rick. So good night. Good night.
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode, or to read our show notes and find us on social media, visit nodeodorant.com. For more information on Ryan Sean O'Reilly and his various works of fiction, visit ryanseanoreilly.com. For more information on David Wilkinson, visit drycracker.com. For more information on Richard Mell, check out his profile at goodreads.com. The theme music for this podcast was written by John Doyle from the band I Decline. You can visit him at i-decline.com. Voiceover for this podcast was provided by me, Margaret O'Reilly. Well, that concludes our episode. We hope you've learned a lot. Again, thanks for listening to our show. And always, always remember, there is no deodorant in outer space.
Rick, you're so independent. You always have your shit on time. You always have your shit on time. You always have it exactly perfect. I don't know why anyone questions you. I don't know why anyone questions you ever.
Hey, Ryan, can you put your video on real quick?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that fucks up our connections.
My video's on. Hey, let's get a picture here. There we go. Let's get a little picture for the website.
No. Where's your picture, Rick? Rick, no one questioned you. Rick, no one questioned you. No one questioned you, Rick. All right, I am recording.
Anger.
I have WAV files. Wilk, are you recording? Do you have WAV files?
Yeah, I'm turning the video now, though. I'll be...
Well, let's leave it.
Nice. I'll leave it. Okay, good.
Let's see what happens.
I have WAV files.
Rick, do you have WAV files? Are you in a bathroom? Okay. Okay, so everyone is recording.
What's your website, Ryan? Is it nodeodorant.com?
Yes.
What?
Nodeodorant.com. I say it in every episode.
Is it DEODORANT?
Yes. People always misspell it, though. People do, though. People are like, the website's not working. I'm like, check your spelling. Oh. I'm actually not that good at spelling either. Nice. I haven't had dinner yet. I'm fucking been drinking.
Okay.
You lost Audacity.
Well,
oh, easily. I know. It means we don't have a track for you.
Yeah,
it's kind of important.
It's a profound ramification, actually. I'm going to side with Ryan on this one.
It means we don't have a show.
Yeah, we need the audio track.
No, man. Get Audacity back up. Well, dude, we don't have a show if you're not recording. The last episode, the backup recording didn't work.
I think it's not worked in a lot of episodes, to be honest.
That would be true. It did work, I think, in the last time. It's like whenever Skype updates, it's always questionable if the backup's going to work. It looked like it was working today, but I don't know. I don't think it wasn't recording for some reason. I think because of the Skype when we kept logging in and out. I don't know. Rick, focus on Audacity. Where are you at with Audacity? Please. Oh my God, where are you at with Audacity? It's like fucking knives in my eyes right now. Where are you at with Audacity?
I am recording right now.